Welcome dear students. Today we are going to read our first chapter of Snapshot book, and the chapter is titled as The Summer of the Beautiful White Horse. This has been authored by William Ryan, and William Ryan is a short story writer. Our chapter is also one out of them. The theme of this chapter is honesty and trust. This whole story revolves around two main protagonists, two main characters of this chapter, and they are named as Murad and Aram. Two boys. Murad is 12 years old and Aram is 9 years old. They are cousin brothers. They belong to a Georgian tribe, a Georgian family from Armenia country. Armenia is a country in Asian continent. So here it is given that this story is about two Armenian boys who belong to a tribe whose hallmarks are trust and honesty. So dear students, the Georgian tribe is known for its trust and honesty. Whatever problem they face in their life, they may die, they may embrace death, but they will never compromise with their trust and honesty. That is their hallmark. So how the trust and honesty is being maintained by that Georgian tribe is being described in this chapter. These two boys are passionate about horse riding since their childhood, but they are so poor that they are not able to buy a horse. Somehow Murad managed a horse from a farmer whose name is John Byro. But being afraid of getting their image of trust and honesty tarnished just because of a horse which was brought by them without the knowledge of its owner, both the boys decided to return it back before they were blamed that they had stolen the horse. Right? Also, these two boys believe that until and unless they declare the horse and they offer the horse for sale, they can't be termed as the thieves. Right? Until and unless they offer the horse for sale, it can't be said or it can't be considered that they have stolen it. They have just taken the horse for riding. Their intention is not to sell it and not to do any misappropriation. Let us go ahead with the textual part and understand what is said about these two boys, how the honesty and trust of their family is deep rooted in their tribe, and how their honesty and trust is known by other people also. One day back, there in the good old days when I was 9 and the world was full of unimaginable kind of magnificence and life was still a delightful and mysterious dream, my cousin Murad, who was considered crazy by everybody who knew him except me, came to my house at 4 in the morning and woke me up tapping on the window of my room. So here I is Aram. Two boys, Murad, elder one, and Aram is younger one. They are cousin brothers. So here the narrator is Aram, who says that whatever I'm going to tell you is about the time when I was just 9 years old and the whole world, entire world for me was full of imagination. Means I used to imagine different things in my life and I wish to fulfill all my desires during that period. The dream, the world was just like a dream which was full of happiness and mysteries for me. One day in the early morning around 4 o'clock, my cousin brother Murad came to my home and he tapped on the window of my room. Aram, he said, he called me. I jumped out of bed and looked out of the window. So as I heard to him, I woke up and looked out of the window where he was standing. I couldn't believe what I saw. Means the scene there was quite astonishing for me, because it was not worth believing for me at first moment, because he was sitting on the back of a horse, and I was surprised to see how could Murad manage a horse. It wasn't morning yet, but it was summer, and with daybreak not many minutes around the corner of the world, it was light enough for me to know I wasn't dreaming. So, since it was the summer season, so at around 4 o'clock in the early morning, the sunrise is about to take place, and before daybreak sufficient light prevails all around in the entire world. So for me it was not so difficult to believe that I was not out of sleep, means I was not dreaming. I was, whatever I was seeing there, that was reality, means I was seeing the horse, because I was fully awake. I was conscious enough that I was seeing a horse on which Murad was riding. My cousin Murad was sitting on the beautiful white horse. I stuck my head out of the window and rubbed my eyes. So I took out my head out of the window and I rubbed my eyes with my hands. Yes, he said in Armenian, it is a horse, you are not dreaming, make it quick if you want to ride. So Murad sensed that Aram was not able to believe that I was sitting on a horse back. So I gave him affirmation that yes, Aram, you are not dreaming. Whatever you are seeing, that is true. It is a horse. If you want to ride, come quickly. I knew my cousin Murad enjoyed being alive more than anybody else who had ever fallen into world by mistake, but this was more than even I could believe. So it was a well-known fact that my brother Murad used to enjoy the world the way he wanted to. He was not like other people of this world. So he used to do something extraordinary, unbelievable, but this time it was beyond something, and beyond the extent of believing. Even I could not believe him this time. Earlier people used to suspect him about his acts, but this time even I couldn't believe that he could bring a horse. In the first place, my earliest memories had been memories of horses, and my first longings had been longings to ride. So, if you talk about my childhood days, I used to be passionate about horse riding. I used to know about the horses, and thereafter I had a strong desire of horse riding. That is well known fact. I can reveal that. This was the wonderful part, and this was the wonderful part means Murad having a horse and my intense desire of horse riding. So obviously this was very wonderful. This was a very happy moment for me to see a horse before me. In the second place, we were poor, but the fact is that we were poor means we belong to a poverty stricken family, poverty stricken tribe. So it was not feasible for us to manage a horse, to buy a horse. That is the problem. This was the part that couldn't permit me to believe that I saw what I saw. So that is the actual problem, that I couldn't believe that Murad had bought a horse, because we were poor enough, we were too poor to buy a horse. That's why my conscience was not allowing me to believe that Murad had purchased a horse. We were poor, we had no money, our whole tribe was poverty stricken. So the entire tribe, the community was suffering from utter poverty, extreme poverty, and we were extremely poor. Every branch of the Garagulinian family was living in the most amazing and comical poverty in the world. So every single person of the Garagulinian tribe was very poor, and the poverty we were going through was of the extreme level, means in the entire world nobody could be poorer than us. Nobody could understand where we have got money enough to keep us with food in our bellies, not even the old men of the family. So he says that even including the old people of our family, people of this world never believed that how we were able to manage food and where from we were getting money to manage meals for us. Okay, this was not something which could be believed by the people of the entire world. We were so poor. लोग हैरान थे कि हमें पैसे कहाँ से मिलते हैं अपनी 3 वक्त की रोटी मैनेज करने के लिए भी। इवन हमारे जो पूर्वज थे उनको भी ये विश्वास नहीं होता था कि हम कहाँ से बने, इतने गरीब थे हम। मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट ऑफ ऑल, दो वी वर फेमस फॉर आवर ऑनेस्टी, we had been famous for our honesty for something like 11 centuries, even when we had been the wealthiest family in what we liked the world like to think was the world. So he says that most important of all, though we were famous for our honesty, we were famous for our honesty. Our honesty was our hallmark, the hallmark of our tribe. We had been famous for, and this fame of trust and honesty was associated with us almost for 11 centuries, 1100 years. And even when we used to be the wealthiest person on this earth, and we used to enjoy the world the way we wanted to, that time also we were honest and trustworthy. We were proud first, honest next, and after that we believed in right and wrong. We always felt proud of our tribe's trust and honesty, and we used to be honest enough, and also we believed in the right and wrong aspect of everything. What is right and what is wrong, we had to judge before doing anything. None of us would take advantage of anybody in the world, let alone steal. So we were so poor, still we never resorted to anything, any misappropriation, any criminal activity. Even we never tried to take advantage or take anti-advantage of any situation. Forget about stealing. चोरी तो दूर की बात है, हमने किसी की एंटी एडवांटेज या किसी का कभी भी कोई बुरा नहीं किया. Consequently, even though I could see the horse so magnificent, even though I could smell it so lovely, even though I could hear it breathing so exciting, I couldn't believe the horse had anything to do with my cousin Murad, or with me, or with any of other members of our family, asleep or awake, because I knew my cousin Murad couldn't have bought the horse, and if he couldn't have bought it, he must have stolen it, and I refused to believe he had stolen it. So this is the whole paragraph has been compiled in one sentence. So consequently, as a result, even though I could see the horse so magnificent, he says that I could see that horse was very beautiful, it was splendid, glorious, and I could smell it, it was so lovely, I could hear its breathing, it was very exciting, and the atmosphere was full of excitement for me, because I used to crave for horse riding always, but I couldn't believe the horse had anything to do with my cousin Murad, or with me, or any of my members of our family. But he says that the horse, I could believe that the horse couldn't believe either, the horse couldn't belong either to Murad, me, my family members, whoever was awake at that time, or whoever was sleeping at that time, because I could believe that in no way that horse belonged to our community, because I knew my cousin Murad couldn't have bought the horse. And this was the bitter truth, that my brother Murad could not purchase this horse because we were very poor, and if he couldn't have bought it, he must have stolen it. So there are two options only. If he had not bought the horse, then definitely he had stolen it. Okay, that is the only alternate left, and I refused to believe he had stolen it. But my conscience was not allowing me to believe that he had stolen it, because though we belonged to a poor family, but we were so strict to our hallmark of trust and honesty that we could never resort to anything like stealing, thievery, misappropriation, or criminal activity. No member of the Gregorian family could be a thief. Okay, so from our tribe, no one could be a thief. I stared first at my cousin and then at the horse. There was a pious stillness and humor in each of them, which on the one hand delighted me and on the other frightened me. So I looked continuously and consistently at my cousin and at the horse. Yes, this was pious stillness, means it was pure stillness. There was extreme calmness prevalent all around, and there was humor also in that situation, because on the one hand I was delighted, I was happy to see them. I was quite happy on one hand to see Murad riding a horse, so that I could also get a chance to ride it. But the on the other hand, I was afraid of the situation. I was afraid that because of this act of Murad, the image of trust and honesty of our tribe was on stake. It was going to be tarnished. Murad, I said, where did you steal this horse? Straightway I asked him, from where did you steal this horse? Leap out of the window, he said, if you want to ride. And Murad told me that if I wanted to ride the horse, I I I must have jumped out of the window. It was true then, he had stolen the horse. But when he didn't reply to my question that where from he had stolen the horse, then I was almost sure that he had stolen the horse, because he didn't reply to that. Otherwise, he would have said that he had purchased it. There was no question about it, and there was no doubt at all that he had not stolen the horse. Certainly, he had stolen the horse. He had come to invite me to ride or not, as I chose. So he had just come to me to ask my desire, to know my desire, whether I wanted to ride or not. Well, it seemed to me stealing a horse for a ride was not the same thing as stealing something else. So I also thought that, such as money, I also thought that it is not like a horse cannot be compared with money. A money taken from somebody is considered as stolen, but a horse, if taken for riding only, cannot be considered as a horse stolen by somebody from someone, right? सो देर इज़ ए लॉट ऑफ डिफरेंस. एंड आरम कहता है कि मुझे लगा कि अगर ये हॉर्स हम राइडिंग के लिए ले गए हैं तो हम इसको चोरी नहीं करेंगे, जैसे कि पैसे की चोरी से इसको हम कंपेयर नहीं कर सकते, क्योंकि मनी अगर किसी से हमने ले लिया बिना उसकी नॉलेज के, इट मीन्स वो चोरी किया हुआ है. बट अगर हॉर्स हम राइडिंग के लिए ले जाते हैं तो उसको हम चोरी किया हुआ हॉर्स नहीं मान सकते. फॉर ऑल आई न्यू मे बी इट वाजंट स्टीलिंग एट ऑल. सो I thought that it was not stealing and we must enjoy it. If you were crazy about horses the way my cousin Murad and I were, it wasn't stealing. So Aram says that if you also crave for horse riding, then definitely none of you would consider it a stealing. Okay, if you place yourself in place of me and my cousin Murad, definitely you will not consider it as a stealing, because you have taken the horse just for riding. It wouldn't become stealing until we offered to sell the horse, which of course I knew we would never do. So until and unless the horse is offered for sale, it can't be considered stealing. And of course we were not going to sell it at any cost, at any level. We had not taken that horse for sale. Let me put on some clothes, I said. So Up to here, Aram was thinking about that situation. Everything was going in his mind, whatever he has narrated here. All right, he said, but hurry. So I asked Murad to give me some time so that I could wear clothes, and he asked me, okay, do it and hurry up. I leaped into my clothes. So I put on my clothes. I jumped down to the yard from the window and leaped up to onto the horse behind my cousin Murad. So straightway I went out of the window and sat behind my cousin Murad on the back of the horse. That year we lived at the edge of town, a walnut avenue. Behind our house was the country. Okay, there that was, and during that year we lived in on the edge of the town, means outside of a town, outer edge of the town, and on Walnut Avenue. So this was a Walnut Avenue. Behind our house was the country, vineyards. So behind our house was the country, means that was the village, village side, vineyards, orchards, irrigation ditches, means the streams or ditches which are prepared for irrigation purpose to accumulate water, and country roads, streets, okay, means village streets. These everything could be seen from back of our house. In less than 3 minutes we were on Olive Avenue, and then the horse began to trot. So within 3 minutes we reached in the Olive Avenue, and then the horse started moving ahead with its specific walk, that is trotting. The air was new and lovely to breathe, means atmosphere was quite pleasant. The feel of the horse running was wonderful, so I was enjoying the feeling of horse riding. It was very wonderful, very pleasant, and it was soothing me. My cousin Murad, who was considered one of the craziest members of our family, began to sing. I mean, he began to roar. So as the horse moved on, my cousin Murad, who was considered a crazy person, a very passionate person about horse riding, he was full of enjoyment and he was full of enthusiasm, and he started roaring, means he started singing under the influence of the enjoyment of horse riding. So that this roaring was of enjoyable moment. Every family had a crazy streak in it somewhere, and my cousin Murad was considered the natural descendant of the crazy streak in our tribe. So generally it is found that in every generation there is a crazy person found in every family. So if we talk about our family, my brother Murad was also a descendant of a crazy streak of our family, our tribe. Before him was our uncle Khusro, and before Murad, my uncle Khusro used to be a crazy person in our family, that is one generation back. An enormous man with a powerful head of black hair and the largest mosque in the Sonjoan Valley. So my uncle Khusro was a person of robust body, and he was very enormous, of a healthy body, big, you can say, that is robust body, stout body with a powerful head of black hair and largest mustache. His mustache used to be the largest one in the Saint Jogan Valley. That Saint Jogan Valley is one of the longest interior valleys of California. So in the entire valley of California, that Jogan Valley of California, my uncle Khusro was the one person, only one, who was supporting such big mustache, large mustache. A man so furious in temper, so irritable, so impatient that he stopped anyone from talking by roaring. It is no harm, pay no attention to it. So he was very furious in temper, means he was so tempered, he was irritable person, and he used to be so impatient, so eager to stop anybody from saying anything, that he would all of sudden roar at him, he would rebuke him with these words, it is no harm, pay no attention to it. Okay, इसमें कुछ नया नया कोई नुकसान नहीं है, इसके ऊपर ध्यान देने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. सो जब भी कोई बोलता उनको वो ये बात बोल के चुप करा देते थे. That was all, no matter what anybody happened to be talking about. He says that irrespective of the matter, irrespective of the seriousness of the matter, somebody would talk about, my uncle Khusro would stop him with these words, it is no harm, pay no attention to it. Once it was his own son Arak running 8 blocks to the barber's shop where his father was having his mustache trimmed to tell him their house was on fire. So as I told you in the Zoom class that one day it so happened that Uncle Khusro's son Arak came running to him when Uncle Khusro was getting his mustache trimmed on the barber shop. Arak said, father, our house is on fire. This man Khusro sat up in the chair and roared. So he shouted at him, it is no harm, pay no attention to it. So he said, Uncle Khusro said to his son, that is no harm, pay no attention to it. If the house is on fire, let it be. There is nothing harmful in it. The barber said, but the boy says, your house is on fire. The barber got suspicious about Uncle Khusro's act. His statement, barber thought that Uncle Khusro had misinterpreted his own son's statement. So he reiterated the same. He told, sir, your house is on fire. This boy says, so Khusro roared, enough, it is no harm, I say. Uncle Khusro said, enough is enough, means I have already heard, there is no harm in it, pay no attention to it. Okay, that was again said by him. So just you can understand that Uncle Khusro, irrespective of the seriousness of the problem, always used to speak these words, it is no harm, pay no attention to it. You can say it was his tagline. My cousin Murad was considered the natural descendant of this man, although Murad's father was Jorab, who was practical and nothing else. So though my brother Murad's father was Jorab, who was a practical father, a biological father, but his traits, his nature, his behavior, his craziness resembled with that of my uncle Khusro. So you can say that Murad was the descendant of Uncle Khusro, and he was also a crazy person as Murad. That's how it was in our tribe, and this used to be there in our tribe, that there would be someone, a natural descendant of this crazy streak. पागलपन की जो दौर था इनमें किसी न किसी में रहता था. A man could be the father of his son's flesh, but that didn't mean that he was also the father of his spirit. So in our tribe it used to happen that the biological father was not necessarily to be a spiritual father to that person. Means there used to be a difference of opinions and thoughts between the father and the son. Someone would resemble with somebody's behavior. So this was not certain that if a son has to be of equal spirit or same spirit that of what his father is having. The distribution of the various kinds of the spirit of our tribe had been from the beginning capricious and vagrant. So capricious means sudden change in behavior, inconstant, and vagrant means the person who is homeless. So it says that the distribution of the various kinds of spirit of our tribe had been from the beginning capricious and vagrant. In our tribe, the spirit of every person used to be unconstant, which could go under a sudden behavioral change, and the vagrant means homeless person. Since the time when we were homeless and we used to be unconstant in our behavior, since that time there has been a spirit of various kinds in our tribe. Means सभी की spirit एक जैसी नहीं है. We rode and my cousin Murad sang. So we continued our riding, and my brother Murad was singing in happiness. For all anybody knew, we were still in the old country, where, at least according to, means whoever is acquainted or familiar with our locality, we were still riding through our old country, our old village, where we used to live in olden period, at least according to some of our neighbors we belonged. So there were some neighbors who used to stay with us. So according to them, we were in our old village as of now, when we were enjoying the horse riding. मीन्स इस समय हम अपने पुराने जो गांव था उससे गुजर रहे थे. We let the horse run as long as it felt like running. So we allowed the horse to keep on running till the time it could run without any tiredness. At last my cousin Murad said, "Get down, I want to ride alone." And now my brother says that get down, as he wanted to ride the horse alone. "Will you let me ride alone?" I asked. So I also asked him whether he would allow me to ride the horse alone, as he was doing. "That is up to the horse," my cousin said. "Get down." And my cousin replied that first you get down the horse, and whether the horse allows you to ride alone or not, it is up to the horse only. I can't say. "The horse will let me ride," I said, and I firmly said that yes, the horse will allow me also to ride it. "We shall see," he said. "Don't forget that I have a way with the horse." So at this, he make a mockery of me. He criticized me, and he said that you should not forget, Aram, that I know how to deal with the horses. Okay, and whether the horse allows you to ride it or not, let us see what happens. "Well," I said, "anyway you have with a horse, I have also." So I replied him that if you know how to deal with the horses, then I too know how to deal with the horse. "For the sake of your safety," he said. "Let us hope so." And he said that for your own safety, for the sake of your own safety, let us hope that you know how to deal with the horses and you can ride alone. It is necessary for your safety that you should know that before going for the lone riding. "Get down." "All right," I said, "but remember, you have got to let me try to ride alone." So before getting down, I asked him that Murad, don't forget that you have promised me to go for the alone riding. I got down, and my cousin Murad kicked his heels into the horse and shouted, "Wazire, run." So as I got down from the horse, my cousin Murad kicked his heels in the back of the horse and said, "Wazire, run." Wazire means this is the name of the horse given by them to the horse. The horse stood on its hind legs, snorted, and burst into the fury of speed. That was the loveliest thing I had ever seen. So the horse stood on its hind legs, means on the rear legs. So as you know, before running, the horse generally raises its front body and stands on the rear legs. Snorted means he made a sound which can be heard when a horse snorts, or before it starts running, it generally snorts. And burst into a fury means all of a sudden, just like a bullet, it sped on its way. That was very loveliest moment for me, and before that I had never seen such kind of beautiful moment in my life. Okay, my cousin Murad raced the horse across a field of dry grass to an irrigation ditch, crossed the ditch on the horse, and 5 minutes later returned dripping wet. So my cousin Murad went on with the horse riding, and he went through the dry grassy land, irrigation ditches, the streams through which water was flowing, crossed the ditch, and the horse ditch on the horse, means the horse was leaping, horse was jumping over these ditches, and after 5 minutes he came back dripping wet, means the horse was also wet, and Murad was also, because both of them were sweating. The sun was coming up. Now the sun had risen and it was rising high. Now it's my turn to ride, I said, and I told Murad, now you get down and let me go alone for the riding. My cousin Murad got off the horse. Ride, he said, and he fulfilled his promise. He got down and he allowed me to go for alone riding. Dear students, we will continue from here in our next session. Thank you. Have a nice day.